Welcome to Chaos Explained. Today I'm just talking about the Chinese welder that I bought some time ago, and I don't use it all the time. I only use it part of the time, and I probably have about maybe 40 to 80 hours worth of work time. So definitely not quite a month, but somewhere around in that time. And I wanted to shoot this video. I do have another video out of basically the assembly review and kind of what I thought initially of them. However, I've really put some hard labor on this thing, and if you're like me and you use your tools a lot and you depend on them, and you're wondering, is this little thing going to be enough for what you're doing for 220 and 120? It just really depends on your budget. It's a Chinese welder. What else do you expect? I mean, it's good. It's good for stuff. It's like my wife's. She's got a mixer upstairs, and it's a Chinese mixer. It's one of those knockoffs like KitchenAid, and the reviews from other people say, it's great. It's great as long as you're not using it all the time. In other words, it's not gonna last for years to come if you're using it often. So I just wanted to make this video and show you what I experienced on this guy. I think I paid $100, $110 or something for it. Still works. Still works. It hasn't quit, and I've used it pretty hard. Kind of took it through the ringer, but kind of tell you right now what it did, what I've done to it. And I've had this thing on many different style of jobs. So the metal that's on the clamps is very cheap. I guess I'll start there. My first complaint is. And if you look up close, this is the ground clamp, and this just comes with it. I didn't make this or anything like that. It's fraying down here, and that right there, in time that'll get worse and worse and worse. So I have to address this clamp issue, because eventually this will just burn off if I'm using it, because I'm trying to pull so much current, and the wires are becoming less and less right there. So essentially it's it'll just burn off because the wires are getting too small, like I just said. So that's my first complaint with it. But again, what do you expect, man? It's a $110 welder. So cheap clamps, but they work. They work. I actually had a steel wool brush that I was using to clamp onto this, and I didn't have a welder explain that to me. The reason I was using a steel wool brush to like a Scotch-Brite pad, but except it wasn't one of those felt pads. It was steel. You can use copper. Copper would be even better because it's a conductor, just like the wires are. But the reason I'm using that is because it's more surface area. And here, I'll actually grab it for you. One of these. I just take it and I just put the clamp in it like that, and I clamp it to my material because it's more surface area. So it works a lot better, and that's just for any welder. Moving on. The clamp for the electrode. This is kind of what's left of it. This material isn't really that good. It's just basic, nothing fancy. The screw came and done. I did find the screw. I was on a job. I worked a self-loose. That was that. And, again, I'm kind of getting some fraying going on there. And that's what it looks like. This is bent. It just kind of bent over time because of the material. Okay, follow me so far on that. So I'm not real impressed on the leads. I don't like the leads. So just being straightforward, there's ways you can address this, and it can be repaired. Again, the welder still works. I'm still cooking. So I've used under a month, I would say, solid of welding, like compared to a 40-hour work week. So under a month, definitely. The handle came loose on a job. That irritated me. I was mad then. There's a little screw in here that just vibrated, and the handle fell off for the adjustment for the power output, because the gauge is on top. If you have this type right there, handle fell off. Wasn't a big deal to fix. It's just a screw. You can always put some Loctite on it, but that would be like several of them. little hubcap fell off my wheel over on the side. Wheels are still on. That's good. The foot fell off. I don't know where the screw's at. This is another thing they did off the factory line. This little stubby, because you're switching it back and forth. If you're doing 220 and you like try to switch it back to 110, I think it won't work. And then if vice versa, if you have it on 110 and you don't have this stubby, you'll trip the circuit breaker. So that's a good thing off the factory line. So make sure you keep that stubby there. But let's see, anything else? Board's still fine that I made. Looks like that. Hopefully yours should look similar. So that's all you need for these guys. It's still a very handy welder. Still very, very handy. Very, small. If you're just using a welder every now and then, it's great. It's really great. The bigger the gauge, you go, like, would be 1/8 inch. It doesn't like that. It can do it, but you're gonna be cussing and it just doesn't like it. But if you do like the small ones, I forget the size. I'm not a welder. I'm just like you. I just pick this up. I work on cars, and every now and then I weld. So, but the small sticks, I think that is like a 32nd or something. I forget. But it does those great all day. But the bigger you go and the more juice you try to pull, it's like it's like working on that game. Operation, like when you were a kid and like when the guy you're trying to stick it in there makes me jump every time. So anyways, all in all, it's worth the money, but now I gotta fix a few things on it. If you're doing it professionally and you're looking for a welder to do professionally, if you're looking for a professional welder, that is, phrase that, this might not be for you. I think you'll be disappointed, but if you're just like a DIY kind of guy like me, you just need it every now and then, optional 110, 220, so there you'd be great. So I hope this video helped you. Sole purpose of doing this video is just to give you a follow-up review after using it for X amount of time, and so that way you can make a clear choice if this welder's for you or not. There is one more thing I did want to mention that I remembered. It is the leads. These leads are only 5 foot each. Now, and they are locking. They lock in like that. I just want to make sure you're aware of that. For me, I just felt like I was pulling on it half the time. They're just not long enough. That's just my honest. I mean, unless I'm sure there's longer leads out there that you can buy for this welder, but I did want to mention, just heads up to consider the length on these, because if you're pulling them around the shop or anything like that, you're gonna find that the leads just aren't long enough. So just wanted to add that for you. And just like that, I made my lead 5 feet longer. Very, very nice. Very, very nice. So I wouldn't go much farther than that. You start experiencing voltage drop, and it doesn't quite work the same, and then you have to use a different gauge wire. Now, you don't have to do exactly what I did here. This is just because I'm poor and I cannot afford a bigger wire, so I used a whole bunch of smaller scrap wires that I had. And I had a gun that I bought last year, and I said gun, but you know what I'm saying, the handle. I bought this one. I think it cost me like 20, 30 bucks or something like that on eBay or Amazon. I can't remember which, but yep. I just took a bolt, and I did have to solder some connections onto this to make this happen. It's got to be solid, guys. If it's not solid, it'll create heat, and thus won't work. Long story short. So, also Band-Aid for a bolt wound. As far as this clamp goes, to help out with strain relief, this is just something I do. I picked up on my own in my field of electrical, not welding, and I just used Super 33 electrical tape, and it therefore it'll stop bending here and breaking, just for the simple fact is I'm short on materials and money right now, and it kind of looks like that. So you can do the same, buy yourself some more time until you get that next paycheck.